Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the race to the bottom, which is a common problem in engineering, mostly on the consulting side. So the whole point of this channel and what I'm trying to do is actually try to raise awareness and try to, bring the confidence up of other engineers around the world, get a community going and get people talking. I'm coming at this from a perspective of wanting to help and kind of get these discussions talked about rather than just complaining about the issue. So as always, if that's something you're interested in, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video for the YouTube algorithm. It helps get the message out and hopefully get more people involved in the discussions that I'm trying to have on the channel. So there's a common problem in engineering which has been talked about for the last, which is the race to the bottom. That's something where engineering services are actually viewed as a commodity for price rather than for the actual value of the services provided. So essentially engineers are trying to go as cheap as possible on projects. So essentially engineers are trying to bring the price down as low as possible in order to win the work. And essentially the scopes are getting a little bit more vague, there's less time, less budget, and less emphasis on the value of the professional engineering services that we all provide. So we're going to refer to this as the race to the bottom. Recently this week, we've actually had a situation that came up, and I want to talk about what I did to handle it and essentially what the situation was and kind of give a little bit more background and get the discussion going. So we had a client reach out to us recently. They had a project with a renovation for an apartment building. They wanted some structural, mechanical, and electrical services. So as always, we went and looked at the project, seen the scope of work, and seen what our involvement would be. So then we went and submitted a proposal for the work with a price and some of the value items, such as the scope of work and what we'd be providing. And then we got an email back saying our price was outrageous and that our price was not competitive. And then that's where it kind of led to some other things that were said. So essentially, when the person responded back, they said they got structural prices from out of town, which were roughly half our price. So keep that in mind. My proposal was for structural, mechanical, and electrical engineering services, which are 3 disciplines we offer at our office. However, when the person responded, they only mentioned structural services, and they were half the price. Now, that's effectively a negotiation tactic which could be labeled as deception. Deception is a negotiation tactic where the negotiator brings forward information that could lead the counterpart to make improper or incorrect decisions based on that information. So in this case, as I mentioned, the key is that he provided that he got a price for structural that was half my price. My scope of work was structural, mechanical, electrical, which is what was required and discussed for the project. So that could be seen again as deception, and it's something to keep in mind. So when I see a lot of people that start businesses, not only in engineering, they want to come out and be competitive to get their name out there. So by competitive, that's the key here. Competitive means you're within a ballpark that everybody else is in the same playing field for the same value and the same services. So let's say you're going to a dentist, you're not going to get your tooth extracted for $10. That's because the dentists have an organization that oversees them and has general guidelines for fees. Engineers actually have the same thing. So most organizations in Canada where I am have guidelines for both hourly rates and fee proposal based on square footage and percentage costs. Those are all available to anybody starting an engineering firm. Now, if you're an engineer and you're in an area, you have no clients, no contacts, unfortunately, you're going to be trying to give in to, make ends meet and try to charge less to get the work. And that is the root problem of the race to the bottom. I think that engineers, regardless of situation, should be putting themselves in a position where they should be providing the same value for the same cost. Now, obviously, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, let's all make what we think we're worth and get the work like that. I know it's not as easy as I'm making it out to be. But I think that when you follow the guidelines and you could provide value in other ways, so having good customer service, quick responsiveness, good communication, optimize some designs, those are all things that provide value for the same price that everybody else is charging. So I think it's important to note that there's other ways to provide value rather than cutting your price to get the work and be competitive. So ultimately, I guess the summary of this video is this happened and it kind of made me want to get the voice out there that when somebody comes to you and gives you some potentially falsified information, analyze it correctly. The only time that I'll ever change my price after I've issued it is if the scope changes, or if a part of the scope was misunderstood based on my proposal. So when I typically put a proposal, all the items that I believe we're going to be covering and the timelines are listed in that document. If one of the items is either to be omitted, to be changed, then I'll consider changing my fee proposal. However, if it's just a case of negotiation to get a little bit more money in the contractor's pocket, unfortunately, that's not how I operate, and I don't think that's how any engineer should operate. I think that once you've submitted your price, you should hold yourself to it, and from both ways, right? So if sometimes you underprice a job, and unfortunately that's part of it, sometimes that happens. But on the other hand, if a contractor comes to you and says, oh, well, can you do it for a little bit less because I got a price from so-and-so somewhere else? Then the answer should probably be, no, this is my price, this is the value I bring. You're going to get good customer service, we're going to have a good relationship, I'm going to make you a good design that's going to fit your fabrication style, or whatever the case might be, to essentially... That's how I'm going to bring value to you. Not by cutting my prices, and not essentially by not having a backbone and being a pushover so you can make more money on your back end. Again, as an engineering professional, we have to elevate the value of our services. We are taking so much liability and taking on so many large projects that we need to be compensated for it. And I'm not saying we don't need to get rich or anything like that. I'm just saying we don't need to be fighting for the bottom dollar, because that's just not what we do. Engineers typically need to essentially build a backbone to where they could say, hey, I know I'm starting out, no, I provide this value and that's why you should hire me. Unfortunately, I can't negotiate on my price because I gave you a fair price for fair services, and that's just how it is. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of it, and we shouldn't be budging on that. I'll link down below an article that I found on the Race to the Bottom, and that might be something that interests you guys a little bit more if you're interested in more reading about what other people are thinking about it. I just want to bring my thoughts to it and kind of bring you guys up to speed on what I was going through. And again, this doesn't happen often, but maybe once every few months I get somebody new that tries to ask for these kinds of things, and it almost ends the same way, where I say, hey, sorry, best of luck on your project, I can't help you, and I won't negotiate my price. Again, most of our repeat customers understand the value we bring, and that's why they come to us. At my office, we're very strong on quick turnaround, good customer service, good customer relations. Anyways, as always, if you've enjoyed the video and want to get part of the conversation, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel, and again, if you want to like the video, please do so. If you have any comments or anything you'd like me to talk about or get my opinion on, please leave it down below. As always, I'm trying to grow a community here on this channel and get the conversation started about some of the issues with engineering, as well as sharing some day in the life and some fun tips that I'm going through my engineering journey. As always, thank you.